We'll get this started here. And the first note I have for this evening is Adam Ravenstall's office. Vince was not able to join us this evening, but he does want to call out that the biggest issue right now that they are handling is unemployment claims. So if anybody has any issues with unemployment, if they know of anybody who's having a hard time getting through the unemployment office, having any issues with their paperwork, he said please give him a call. His number is 412-321-5523. And just a note as well, we will post all of the notes from this meeting on our website as well, all the resources, any links. So we'll put that on the site. But just a note from Adam Ravenstall's office if you have any unemployment issues. Does anybody have any questions that they would like me to pass along to Vince for Adam's office to get back to us to answer? Good? Excellent. Okay, great. Next up actually is our good friend Sally Stadelman from Councilman Bobby Wilson's office. Sally, I'm going to turn it over to you, and if you wouldn't mind giving us a brief update from your team.
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name's Sally Stadelman. I am Councilman Wilson's Chief of Staff. So I have a few updates. Abby sent us a few things that I'm going to go over. Starting with, I'm sure everyone's noticed that work has begun on the Lowry Street Bridge repair. I just shared the link in chat to the press release with details on that. Expected completion of the project is December 2020. And I'm sure you all probably talked about this a bit, but know that the metal stairway connecting Lowry Street to Rialto is going to be relocated to the opposite side of the street. If anybody has questions or any concerns with that project, let me know. Pause me now or
I do have one note to add. So Bobby Wilson's team has been helpful in connecting us to the project managers. Obviously, you probably all know Mary Ann. She lives in and does a lot of our gardening in the neighborhood in Troy Hill. She has some perennials that we're going to be moving, so keep an eye out. I'll probably be posting a call for volunteers. We're going to need someone to dig some holes so we can relocate the perennials Mary Ann has so carefully been maintaining and keeping our entryway on Rialto Street looking beautiful. So if anybody wants to dig a bunch of holes, hit me up.
That is so nice. So I know, and I know that this isn't the first time I've heard this. Looking for a runnel on the Rialto Street steps. So we've taken that to Domi to ask what that cost would look like. I can't remember if I know I've heard that request before, and I could not remember if I had heard that it was the runnel that was cost prohibitive or changes to Rialto Street. But we're going to look into that and see if we can get a cost estimate and see based on that how realistic it would be to add something like that to Rialto. The city has installed 2 runnels in other parts of the city. One is in Greenfield and the other in Oakland. So if you want to go check one out and see what those look like.
Sally, just some background on that. So I think, and Bill, one of our board members is on the call too, had mentioned he saw it in the Bike Pittsburgh. He saw a note to it, a nod to it somewhere in what we thought was a capital budget planning. And so after we had the Troy Hill Steps event last year, so we were hopeful that had made it into the list. So we can keep exploring.
Okay, great. That's good to know too, that Bike Pittsburgh, because sometimes, it takes a couple tries to hunt down that particular person in Domi that might be working on the project. So, all right, great. That's helpful.
Just to clarify too, I think that was a big mobility and infrastructure plan that got released. That kind of details all of the new bike lanes and different things that are going to be installed. That's where I saw it.
Oh, the Bike Plus plan has.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Has the runnel included. All right, that's all right. Okay.
Honestly, that would be, I know that obviously the bridge is closed right now and we still have some pedestrian traffic, which is great since a lot of people use the bus stops down there. But I mean, a bike rental, the number of people I see carrying their bikes up and down or like locking them at the bottom of the hill, like that would make a huge difference.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So I see that there's a phone number 412-322-1592 that keeps going in and out. Is that? Yeah.
Kelly, Pat Campbell.
Oh, hey.
I'm double dipping here. My question about the bridge, the steps.
Yeah.
Is it the steps going to come down the south side of the bridge? That would be towards 28th, or on the north side of the bridge towards Troy Hill? That was one of the questions.
What side
Right
are they?
Now, the steps are on the north side of the bridge.
Yeah, they'll be switching to the south, so you will no longer have to cross the street to get to the mountain street. Does that sound right? Oh no, I don't.
No, it's okay. Sally, can you say that one more time? Because I think Patrick's background noise is causing your audio to go out. So just say that one more time and then I'll unmute him again.
Okay, and specifically in the press release, because I'm always really terrible with the north side of the road, blah, blah, blah. So it says that the metal stairway connecting Lowry Street to Rialto Street will be relocated to the opposite side of Rialto, providing a direct connection to the Rialto steps without the need for crossing the street. Is that the spot he's talking about? Does that sound?
Pat, is that right?
Yeah, the question is on Rialto steps, the staircase that goes down. They're going to move the steps to the same side as the staircase.
Yes.
But right now, that's one of the questions we had for as far as landscaping. If the steps are going to come down on the south end of the bridge or the south side of the bridge, or on the same side that they are now. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, we're talking about the same steps. It sounds like they are moving to the other side of the street.
So it sounds like they're going to be on the same side, but just like the same side of the bridge, but the opposite side of the street, basically. Does that help, Pat?
Yeah, Abby said that correctly. If that's the question.
I'll see if we can get, maybe we can get some drawings so that you have something visual to look at to understand where the steps, the Lowry Street Bridge steps are moving. Does that sound good?
Okay.
I can make it okay.
Great. I think, so Pat, we'll circle back with some plans and specific, and that'll be helpful also if we can get that when we move our perennials, and we'll know exactly what, how far we have to kind of take that deconstruction a little bit.
Excellent. Okay, next on my list, I have got the Cali Rec Center. This feels like a never-ending saga here, and we've been bothering DPW to get an update. So what we've heard back is that we're working to put together a meeting for the councilman to sit down with DPW and city parks to go over our architecture division's proposals for the site. And so we expect to set up a community meeting with everyone this fall. This is all information fresh off the press.
Great. So we can count on a follow-up meeting this fall. For those of you on the call who are not familiar with this is the old Cali Rec Center in Troy Hill. We are talking about a complete demolition and rebuild, and the city has sent out, they did an extensive survey of the Troy Hill, Spring Garden, Spring Hill, East Deutschtown area, the school children and families at Provident who might use that area, looking for feedback on the project and to see how we could potentially reimagine that community space and what we might want in that space. So hopefully that's great news, Sally, to have that potential community meeting on the calendar for this fall.
Okay, excellent. Yes, so we will circle back with you all to work on some dates here once we had this preliminary meeting with DPW, and they sent us a little note to pass along to the community as well to say that they are so appreciative.
Oh, I think she froze just as she was about to say something nice about us.
No. Okay, can you hear?
You're still going you're in and out a little bit.
Oh gosh. can try and switch to my own if we're still having trouble. Let me see.
Your audio is
Sometimes
okay.
that works
Your
better for
video
me.
is just fine.
Okay. Let me do this. Let me take my video off. Can everybody hear me when I'm right now? Is this
Yeah,
any better?
We can hear you.
Okay. So sorry, I was just saying that DPW asked us to pass along that they are so appreciative of everyone who took the time to fill out surveys last year, and that the surveys have played a vital role in informing what the design proposals for the site are going to be. So thank you. All right, so I've got two more things. I'm gonna skip to talk about the, I understand that there are some steps that have closed on Troy Hill Road.
Yeah.
You know, we reached out. What I need from you all is if somebody could just give me a better description of exactly which steps we're talking about.
I'm terrible at directions in Pittsburgh, but I'm gonna try to do this. You never want directions from me, even if I know where I'm going. They're on Troy Hill Road, and they're across-ish from Providence Charter School, and they go down to 28 to like the trail connection there.
Okay, that's really helpful. So, all right, let me. So that's, they go from, so essentially our, you know, the generic response we got, which we, you know, now we need to go back and ask about these specific steps, is that the city has 980 sets of city steps. And so there was a study done a couple of years ago to determine which ones were used the most, and that is how they go about allocating resources and to keep up with them. Because there are quite a lot of manpower to go and cut the grass and all that good stuff.
Okay.
So
If
that's,
you know specifically though, I don't know that we know even why they closed, and I haven't dodged under the caution tape obviously to go look, but
yeah.
I've walked those. It just seemed to me that there were a few loose steps near the bottom. Otherwise, when I've walked them, it didn't seem too bad.
And Keegan, do you know if was it overgrown? Were the steps overgrown?
Maybe at this point. This was several months ago.
Okay. So, all right, great. So I think that should be enough info where I can circle back and get more data from Domi about what is going on with those steps. Are they permanently closed? Are they coming back? Who knows? And they just recently got shut down.
Yeah, this was probably, I want to say, probably at least a month ago, maybe more, thereabouts.
Okay, and they were closed with it. Got it. All right, and then, so I have something here about the city-owned lots at the top of the Rialto near the bridge that need to be cut back from some overgrowth.
Yeah, I think that might have been part of the feedback we submitted to Mohammed and your team about that Lowry Street Bridge project specifically, just that the city owns those lots, and kind of expanding, you know, as we're looking at the renovation of that bridge on a larger scale, you know, is there anything we can do to beautify that area or better maintain, you know, the city-owned property that we have in that space?
All right, yes, we would love to have that conversation. So whatever we can do, I think we just want to circle back with you to make sure we're all talking about the same few parcels.
That sounds good.
Okay, and then also I have a request here that we're going to look into getting no truck signage at the bottom of Rialto Street. And we just need to figure out if we can do that directly or if we're going to have to coordinate with PennDOT to get those signs up.
Yeah, I think, I know that this is sort of an ongoing conversation as part of the usage of Rialto, and obviously it being closed right now, it's sort of not that much of an issue at this current moment, but obviously just any signage, I know that that's been a problem in the past, and we've occasionally had even patrol cars that come and sit up here and we'll just write tickets, and that's really effective even just for a couple days to deter the people who drive, you know, big box trucks, big moving trucks up and down there. Whatever, I think that's an ongoing problem that we can continue to look for solutions for too.
Excellent. Okay, that sounds good. So I don't know if anybody has questions for me, which I'm happy to take, or whenever Abby feels it is appropriate to launch into questions. The only other thing I have on the list is that I understand that there have been incidents with some paintball players, that people have been hitting other people and homes with paintballs, which I'm so sorry to hear. And I wanted to save it to the end so I can tag team here with Sergeant Burford, who's obviously going to be a big resource on that too. You know, I don't want to. The most obvious thing is, and I'm sure this has been happening, but I want to make sure everybody knows to call 911 anytime you see anything like that.
Yeah, I think let's pivot to that really quickly. Just so, yeah, we have Sergeant Burford from Zone 1 on the call. Thank you so much for joining us. We also have John from the Northside Safety Council on the line too, so he's aware of what's been going on. We've actually had it's kind of been a hot summer, as you might say, in Troy Hill. You know, we've had a couple incidents. One earlier this summer around the 4th of July where some people were hospitalized. A fight had broken out, and there was ongoing harassment that I understand that was happening in the community. And then, yeah, the most recent was the paintball incidents. And from a community perspective, some of the feedback I heard from neighbors was that they had reached out to the police, and the police had either not reached out to them to ask, you know, detective hadn't contacted them to follow up to get details, or they felt that the police response wasn't taking it seriously. And I guess for the weekend there were kind of like these, like, you know, there were people like wandering around the streets with paintball guns. So I just wanted to bring that to all of our attention. And yeah, maybe Sergeant Burford could weigh in a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So our detectives have been following up on the paintball incidents. The big one we're probably not getting as many reported to us as are occurring, and that kind of happens with most crimes. So if you do know someone that was struck, we're mainly looking for individuals that were shot at with the paintball guns. As far as the criminal mischief aspect, that kind of takes a back seat and on priority scale. But the one I really want to discuss on this, and it's going to kind of maybe open things up for some of the other cases, is, you guys may have seen this on the news, was on the 8th, there was a elderly male over on Lay Street that was attacked with paintballs. He was shot multiple times. So to fill you guys in on that, is everyone familiar, or would anyone like me to give the details?
Yes.
Okay. So a gentleman over there, I believe he's 86 years old. He had a dispute with an individual across from him. Apparently there's been issues, which is all over Troy Hill, is parking on sidewalks, parking on areas. So that gentleman actually got in some type of conversation with his neighbor regarding the vehicle being parked. And the 19-year-old male exited his vehicle and shot this victim in the face with a paintball gun. And then he proceeded to shoot him in excess of 25 times with a paintball gun. So we've had detectives up in that area. Obviously, we had, the family documented this victim's injuries. This is an appalling crime. And we've had a lot of people step up and provide us with information. So I can't put exactly what we have out there as far as evidence-wise, but I can tell you this. We identified the individual involved in it. It's absolutely unacceptable. There's been a cry of self-defense. Listen, I don't care what an 86-year-old man did. Far from pulling a firearm on him, there's absolutely no reason this should have occurred. So based on that, I've been meeting with Commander Fleske daily regarding this incident. The detectives have been working it. We actually identified that individual, and we hit his house last night with a SWAT team. So the SWAT team, we got a warrant for him for that assault. He's being charged with aggravated assault. The SWAT team, I was along with them last night when we hit the house on Lay Street. We also hit him with a warrant for the home to do a search of the home, which led us to get an additional search warrant last night to recover narcotics from that home. So he's going to have additional charges in addition to the assault. So on top of that, we confiscated, evidence from that crime, from the original assault, and we're tying that back to other incidents that we were investigating in Troy Hill for the paintballs and such. So that's kind of where we're at with the paintball. We're going full course with this. We're taking it very serious. The evidence that I've seen from it really is disturbing. And we're going to meet with the DA's office as well on this and make sure that we're all on the same page and prosecute this individual to the fullest.
That's a great update. Thank you so much. I think from one of the other things I've been hearing, and I think this is just a continuing and ongoing point of conversation, is that I'm glad that you've had cooperation. I had heard also that people were a little afraid of retaliation on their person or property, you know, if they had come forward to police. So if you have any tips about how to mitigate that fear of retaliation, or if there's anything that, you know, we specifically as a community group can do to help that, we're open to whatever your suggestions are.
Well, I can tell you, aside from this crime, yeah, that definitely came to our attention on this. And I understand people's fear on that. But the flip side is, if we don't get that cooperation, if we didn't get the cooperation we didn't have right now and that we have gotten so far, it would have been a harder thing to prove. And in court, it would have made it a lot tougher. So I mean, listen, I get it. A 19-year-old kid assaulting an 86-year-old male, unacceptable. But this kid is going to say that this male attacked him. What his story is, the elderly gentleman attacked him with a knife. Now, we know for a fact it wasn't a knife. We know it was a screwdriver. But, you know, there's – and hopefully a judge in a courtroom wouldn't give too much to this guy's story. And that's what we said today. I met with my supervisors, and they said, you know what, let's put this kid in court and let him explain how he feels he was actually threatened by an 86-year-old male. But we have evidence beyond that that shows he wasn't threatened or assaulted. So based on that, I mean, the cooperation we've got is huge. And what we're going to do is also express that to the DA's office, that some of the cooperation we've gotten so far that kind of makes this case so strong is that the way we obtain some of this information is to cooperation that these individuals don't want to be retaliated on. So it's going to be a concern. And if that comes down to it, we'll probably have to meet with that individual and kind of have a good discussion about what do we want to do. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. We're not going to just give out. You know, there's rules in court. There's rules of criminal procedure. So if we do have evidence that we feel proves our case, we have to give that to the other side. That being said, we're probably going to have a discussion over how we obtained it, who we obtained it from, and retaliation. It's something that's going to be addressed. Those individual safeties, you know, utmost to us, but we're going to have a balance of what we can come up with. So we'll face that down the line. We're at the preliminary stages. This gentleman, and I hate to say this and alarm people, but this individual has not been apprehended yet. He was not at the home last night when we hit it. So I am going to make a suggestion tomorrow morning. All right. I'm going to make a suggestion because of the extent of this crime. We have a U.S. Marshals task force, and these guys are unbelievably efficient. And I spoke with the suspect on the phone yesterday when we were at his house, and I told him that I'm going to have U.S. Marshals come after him. So I'm going to push that tomorrow in a meeting, and that they're very effective. We're not. I mean, we're taking this very serious, and we want to get this guy in custody. He is aware now that he is wanted, obviously because we went in his house with a SWAT team, and his mother and family were there. And I can tell you his mother was very cooperative. I don't know if anyone knows this family. And she allowed us, she was very cooperative on scene. So we're going to go from there. And again, in the future, if people can get us evidence for some things, it's extremely helpful. Ring cams, door cams, surveillance cams. We do have numerous city cameras in Troy Hill. We just had a new one moved to Getman Street by the spray park, which has been incredible for us recently regarding some of the complaints we get up there. But any information we can get from everybody's helpful.
Great. And, you know, also on the note of public safety, John, do you want to take a moment to introduce yourself? And you can either add either to this or just to general public safety in Troy Hill.
Good evening, everyone. My name is John Karski. I work with the Public Safety Zone 1 Council, but I actually work for the Department of Public Safety for the city of Pittsburgh. There's a lot we can do. And when I say there's a lot we can do, I can say this in the sense of being a primer and keeping from these type of events from occurring. What I'd like to do, if you don't already have it set up internally, is to set up a small committee that will be specifically focused on public safety. It doesn't have to be a big group. maybe 3 to 5 people that could work within the organization as a whole and the community in general, to go over some of the things we can do. Sergeant's right. This is a low priority, not because the police don't care about you, but because there's so many other things going on, as you're well aware of through the media, that they have to pay attention to. I heard Sergeant Burnford talk about that there's issues with parking in the community. That could be remedied to a certain degree by bringing in the city's Human Relations Commission and having some discussions by them with people in the community. I don't want to say necessarily arbitrations, but mediations to talk about how these things can be better helped. I mean, we could bring in a number of the different committees from the north side, as well as some of the departments from the city to address some of these issues. But what I'd like to do is, first of all, isolate these issues. We can create, you're all familiar with the old-fashioned block watches. Well, now we have video block watches. So we can actually organize, as Sergeant Burford mentioned, video cameras, video doorbells, who's what, where. So when things occur within the streets, the police immediately know who to go to, who's going to cooperate with them and provide that information. But Abby, what I'd like to do is extend to you the opportunity to meet with you individually and find out how you'd like to take this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to send all of you under chat my email address and my cell phone. I've been working like so many other employees from home. So I'm available to come out and meet with you. I'll throw the old mask on. We can sit down and talk. But I'd like to sit down with a small group, prioritize those things that are most important. Because the paintball issue isn't unique to Troy Hill. We've just gone through this situation very bad over in Zone 6, particularly the neighborhood of Sheridan, where they had these issues going on. And these were younger kids. They weren't 19-year-olds, but they were 14, 15, 16-year-olds, which is just as bad, injuring people and also vandalizing property. So if that's okay with you, Abby, that's what I'd like to do. I'll send it right, like I said, my information. Feel free to contact me as you want. And that'd be pretty much it.
Thank you so much, John. And just so everybody on the call is aware, we do have a block watch meeting that meets every third Wednesday. Unfortunately, that has not been taking place due to COVID. We hope to start those up again soon. And that's sort of the reason why I also invited Sergeant Burford and John to come to this meeting, just to get some FaceTime with us, just especially in light of everything going on. Does anybody have any questions for Sergeant Burford, for John, for Sally? You know, to go back to Sally, we didn't forget about you, Sally.
And Abby, please invite me. Let me know when those meetings are, if they're going to be Zoom connection.
Will do, John. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, if there are any questions, and again, feel free, John, I will share your contact information with everybody after this, and I'll share it on the site. We will definitely involve you in Block Watch. If anybody has anything they don't want to bring up publicly now, but they just want to message us later, feel free. Otherwise, I will turn it over to Leah from the City of Pittsburgh for our Community Affairs update.
Thanks, Abby. Hi, everyone. My name is Leah Friedman from the Office of Community Affairs at the City of Pittsburgh. We work closely on behalf of the Mayor's Office with neighborhoods all over the city. I've been to a few Troy Hill meetings scattered throughout the years, but I think Molly was working with your neighborhood before. So Molly's moved on to another position in the city, and I'll be visiting with you guys for now. So thanks for having me. And thanks, Sally, for covering the Cali Rec stuff. Super appreciate that. I think, DPW had shared with us that they had gotten like 450 survey responses from the neighborhood, which is super exciting. And just thanks again for everyone for participating. And I think during that meeting, they'll be able to kind of report out to the neighborhood what those survey responses were. So that'll be exciting stuff. So I just have a few broad announcements, citywide, countywide almost announcements. And then feel free to ask me any other questions regarding the mayor's office or the city. And I'll be listing some links and URLs, but I'll post everything in the chat and send to Abby as well, so everyone has access to that after this, because I know it's hard to keep track of. So everyone should be aware that there is an ongoing eviction moratorium in the state of Pennsylvania. So that's coming out of Governor Wolf's office. That means that nobody, as of today, up until August 31st, nobody can legally be evicted. So that is still in effect for now. That is the end date for now, but we'll keep you updated if we hear anything different. The city and county are offering rental and mortgage assistance right now through a variety of programs that are coming from the local, county, state, and federal level. So we have those broken up into like 3 tiers of assistance programs. But they exist as a COVID-19 response. And again, that's for both renters and homeowners. So I will put links to all of those programs in the chat if you or any of your neighbors could use that. It's important to know that those are available. 2 kind of like good news, just nice stories from the city that we're happy to share. So the Pittsburgh Water and Sewer Authority, PWSA, has been working on lead line replacements since 2016. So they just released some numbers. They've replaced over 7,400 public lead service lines and 4,700 private lead service lines, so the ones that go directly into the homes, since 2016. That's kind of part of an ongoing effort to remove all lead service lines in the entire city, and they are on track to do that by 2026. So we had a little bit of a blip when construction was halted for the last few months, but they're back to it and they're excited about that progress. Also, the Urban Redevelopment Authority this week was able to approve over $4 million in affordable housing funds to be distributed throughout the city. Those funds have been allocated. I think that they're going to a number of neighborhoods citywide, but many of them not too far from you in the north side. So we're just happy that, you know, we're able to continue funding those important issues. Finally, just a quick note that the 2020 census is happening, and a reminder to everybody to please take the census if you have not already. You can take it online or by phone. It's available in 13 different languages. There wasn't a few confusion around what the deadline was. The federal government had pushed it to October. Now it's back to September. So we're sort of scrambling to try to make sure that everybody gets counted. It's a tough situation right now without people able to go knock on doors and make sure that everyone gets counted. So just a reminder, information will not be shared with anybody. It's anonymous. There are no citizenship questions. And it's important to get funding for your community, your neighborhood, all the way down to, you know, the most local level. So I don't believe Troy Hill is technically a hard to count neighborhood, but I do know that most city neighborhoods hover around 65% response rate. So, you know, that's good, but it's not the best it could be. So if anyone has questions, please feel free to reach out and I'll post links to more information on the census. And that's it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Leah. Yes, definitely make sure you've done the census. If you haven't, if you have questions, please let us know. Does anybody have any questions for Leah? Amazing. Okay, Leah, you're welcome to stay. You're welcome to leave. Same with John, and I think Sergeant Burford might have already signed off. We don't want to keep your evenings from you. Let's see what's next on my agenda here. Okay, Troy Hill specific updates from your Troy Hill Citizens Board members. Just gonna launch right into it. Actually, the first one I had was census, so great. Leah already checked that one off. The next up, let's see here. So I already talked about our Lowry Street Bridge, how we're going to be soliciting some volunteers to remove those perennials. Keep an eye out for that. 1300 Gardner Street. So if you guys are familiar with this, I just want to make sure you guys have an update. This is the building at the very top of Troy Hill Road across from Providence, the old gas station that's there. It has the Troy Hill mural on it. That has been in development with a developer and an architecture firm for quite some time. It's going to be a 3-story apartment building and with parking underneath. So parking is, the heated contested parking issue is addressed in this situation, but they are still working through planning. They're in the city planning office going through steps to make sure that they are meeting all of their guidelines. So they're not looking at breaking ground yet. Things are moving, but slowly. So just wanted to give you an update on that project. From a board perspective, so Troy Hill Citizens is an all-volunteer board. The positions are up for election. Several positions are up for election each year, and we actually have open board spots. So if anybody on the call is interested in joining our Troy Hill board, you can get involved in the neighborhood. What we will do is we will solicit bios from anybody who's interested, and then we will all be voting at the December meeting. Anybody who votes will need to be a paying Troy Hill Citizens member to cast your ballot. So if you're not a member and you want to vote for who's representing Troy Hill Citizens on the board, please join and you can cast your vote in December. But I'm putting this call out now. December seems like a really long way away. But just in case anybody has aspirations to join our board, start thinking about it now. An update on Troy Hill Citizens 1619 Lowry office building. So as you guys might have seen, we have been working to get a beauty salon in that space. Just some quick background about the project if you're not familiar. The space itself needed some renovation. We specifically had to do some ADA required plumbing and reconfigurement in the space. That work is done, which is great. So we're now moving into the phase we need to get HVAC specific ventilation installed for the salon business, and then we can apply for our occupancy permit. So we're really hoping there's a new business in Troy Hill in the not too distant future. So just updates about that. I know that building looks like nothing's going on in there, but we've been steadily chipping away at that work. So we're excited for that. Justine she's great. I think she's gonna be awesome for the neighborhood. So we hope to get her in there soon. Let's see here. So actually, I wanted to see, Keegan stepped away from his computer for a minute, but he had an idea that he brought to me, which I thought I would cast up to you guys to see. And Sally, this might be on your radar too as something to keep an eye on. So when he comes back, I'm gonna turn it over to him. In the meantime, we have some event updates. So obviously, again, due to COVID-19, a lot of our events were canceled or postponed. The city is putting together their annual Garbage Olympics. It will be September 26th. That's a Saturday. It will be 9 a.m. and then onwards into the afternoon. The idea is that each neighborhood forms a team and they go out and collect as much garbage as possible. There are prizes for things like the weirdest piece of garbage, the largest piece of garbage, largest amount of garbage collected. So we'll be putting out a call for some volunteers who want to come out and pick some trash up. We'll probably divvy up into some different neighborhood zones, make sure we hit all the areas. If anybody on this call or later, if you're thinking of a particular area or street that could use some attention, please let us know. We're happy to add that to the list of things that we want to check out. The next thing is, so last couple years we've hosted Pigtoberfest, which is a festival in the park. We roast a pig, we have music, we hang out, spend some time with our neighbors. Right now we've targeted October 3rd, Saturday, October 3rd for this event. I kind of wanted to take the pulse of everybody here though and see how you guys felt about this event, if it's something that you would attend given the COVID-19 situation, if you would feel comfortable in an outdoor space like that. I'm happy to hear feedback. I'll be quiet for a minute and let you talk if you do.
I didn't hear what the event was. I'm sorry, I was on a call. But yeah, whatever it is, I want to be there.
That's great. So Pigtoberfest is our annual pig roast.
Oh, absolutely. Pigtoberfest, definitely.
So my concern was, I just wanted to make sure that everybody felt comfortable if we still hosted this event. We are going to go through the process with the city to get it approved for a special events permit and et cetera, make sure we have our COVID, protocol in place. But I just wanted to, again, I have to check the temperature of the proverbial room just to make sure that I'm not, completely crazy trying to host an event during these times. So
I would have to say I'm not comfortable yet with that kind. I mean, I'm an older woman, and so my kids would have my head if I went to a public event. But we'll see what happens with COVID. Maybe it will, lessen by then, and, it would be safe to do that. So, but at this moment, no.
thanks, Lenore. I really appreciate that feedback. I think that's a huge, huge thing to remember, is that we are all operating on different levels of concern, basically, with our own health issues and our own health and safety. I think that candidly, one of the very challenging parts about this is because the community festival grants are not available this year. We relied on $1,000 from the community festival grant fund to put on part of the expenses for this event. So the fact that we might have to do it out of pocket without those expenses reimbursed, and with the chance that it could be canceled due to COVID later down the road, makes me a little nervous about it. If you guys have feedback or thoughts about that, I'm happy to hear it. We want to make the decision that's best for everybody in the neighborhood and make sure we're making a smart decision. But we also, you still kind of want to still get together, if it's safe. So, if anybody has any thoughts or feedback, please feel free to email me after this, or, whatever you want to say about it. Keegan, when you stepped away for a minute, I was about to tee you up because I think that you had an idea when we spoke the other day, and I believe you posted it to Facebook this afternoon or recently about streets, one-way streets. Do you want to tease that up and expand upon it a little bit? With Sally on the call, I think she could offer a lot of insight on how that might look.
Sure. I've just been going on my typical morning walk and just been thinking about how the streets are laid out. There's a turn, the left-hand turn onto Getman off of Troy Hill Road. That intersection there, I find to be particularly dangerous. I know taking the right out from Getman onto Troy Hill Road, you're forced to turn into the oncoming traffic lane. And it's just very difficult to look out your car window and see if there's oncoming traffic from either direction. And turning in can be quite difficult as well. If you take the left in, if there's oncoming traffic coming out, you have to stop your car, put it in reverse, and allow the oncoming traffic to pass around you. Both situations I find to be pretty dangerous. So I think a potential solution could be to make Getman a one-way in. As a consequence to that, some of the traffic patterns on other streets would have to shift. My roommate's girlfriend actually works for CEC. It's a civil engineering firm. I spoke with her at length about, how to go about traffic planning, particularly with one-ways. She put me in touch with the principal at that firm, who suggested to me that one-way streets often come in pairs. So with that, I just went on Google Maps, did a little bit of research and planning on my own, just to see what traffic patterns might make sense for the community, to kind of alleviate some of those safety concerns and some of the congestion. As we all know, the streets in Troy Hill are pretty tight, and it can be tricky, traveling up and down them. So that's something I've been thinking about, and I'd be happy to share some of the rough schematics I've worked up to see if there's any buy-in from the community on those potential changes.
Thanks, Keegan. Yeah, I think if it's something that the neighborhood or and those neighbors specifically on the street see as an advantage, I think we can definitely evaluate that. Sally, do you, I believe that that would require a petition for those particular streets, correct?
That is correct. You would need support from 70% of the neighbors on that street to change the street to a one-way. And it sounds like whatever other streets would be involved. to change as well. But we'd be happy to connect you with Domi to get that process started. I assume they have a petition sheet they can share.
That would be great.
Let's see. And Keegan, do we have your contact information, or are you taking the lead here?
Sure. I can put that up in the chat.
I think, you know, as we explore this, you know, we can definitely circulate this however we need to the neighborhood, make sure we have, you know, everyone's aware of it, and we have neighborhood buy-in. I personally don't live down there, so it doesn't affect me as much. So obviously sensitive to those people, those who do live in that area. Awesome. Okay. Anybody have any questions for Keegan on that? I know that's early days, just a thought right now. So we'll see where that goes. All right, great. 6:50, moving right along here. I think that's all that's on my list. My last note was a nice little membership plug, which is, again, if you're not a member, please become one. You can visit our website and sign up via PayPal. You can drop a check in the mail to 1619 Lowry Street. It's $10 a year. It's a membership that pays for our events, our community garden, our outreach activities, so it's very helpful to us. Does anybody have any questions, anything they want to bring up? Patrick Campbell must be having technical difficulties, because I guarantee he would be saying something right now. Everybody good? Going once? Going twice?
Abby, this is Ray.
Oh, hey, Ray.
Yeah, I'd like to take a look at Keegan's proposal. And the other issue we're having on this street is I got on late, but I understand the problem with Mr. Murdy. And these people, I have a problem up here too. They actually pull up on your sidewalk on Sunday. We had a car pull so up far on the sidewalk. The people who lived in their house couldn't get in their house because the car was on the sidewalk. And that seems to be a problem too. And since they paved this road, these cars are using it for a racetrack. I mean, Keegan knows they're flying up the street. And you have people using, you know, a few people with walkers, and people would bring in their kids up to the spray park in strollers. They have to push them out in the street because cars are up on the sidewalk so far.
Absolutely.
I mean, he knows I understand, but I'd like to look at his one-way proposal. It may be feasible, but I mean, we're gonna have a hard time selling that, because some of these people they're just not really up for new ideas. I mean, I always like to look at things before I would say yay or nay.
Of course, I think that if Keegan and Sally and you know, the city of Pittsburgh, if we look at this plan and decide it's something that could be pursued, we'll certainly circulate drawings and maps and things of what the proposed changes would be. Just for everybody, if you're familiar with what this particular intersection is, it's right at the top of Troy Hill Road. It's that really sharp backwards left before you reach Provident Charter School, right in front of Tammy's, the restaurant. So that's that. Keegan's proposing one way in only on that particular corner. I'm not sure.
Go ahead,
Ray.
Why have everybody listening too? There's a lot of large parties. People are having birthday parties and celebrations up in the playground up there. They're not wearing masks, and they're pretty big party. They put balloons and flyers and banners, and when they leave, the place is trashed. They don't clean it up. You know, they're not supposed to be grilling or cooking or anything up there in that playground. And it gets so crowded that, you know, other people coming up can't even use it. And it's been an issue in the past, and I think they stopped it, but it's coming back again.
Did we lose Sergeant Burford?
I don't believe he's on anymore. John, maybe you can weigh in on some potential solutions for that.
Again, I'd be more than willing to help you with this. This is a problem that occurs in a lot of communities throughout the various police zones. So I'd say I've sent everybody my information, and I know you're not on video. So let me give you my phone number. It's 412-432-8674. And the name is John Tokarski. And I'd like to talk to you in more detail so we can get more specifics down so we can put things in action, both both in regards to the building itself, the buildings that this is occurring on, as being a nuisance and disruptive property, as well as behavior of the people.
All right, John, can you give me your phone number again?
Surely, 412-432-8674. Like my colleagues in the city, we're all working from home, so that's my cell phone.
Okay. Okay, my name's Ray Patron, just so you know.
Okay, Ray.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Great. Thank you so much, Ray. Yeah, I mean, obviously with people not able to go out places, not able to host, their graduation parties, et cetera, they're obviously turning to the parks and green spaces in substitution of that. So we'll connect you with John and see what we can do. Anybody else?
Thanks, Evan.
Questions, thoughts, concerns? Okay. Well, you know where to reach us, as always. We will be sending out a newsletter next week. Keep an eye on our website also for all the links and updates from this meeting. Feel free to hit us up on Facebook, email, whatever you need if you have any questions. I'll ask our board members to stay on. They're not done yet, but thank you everyone else for coming. I really appreciate your time.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.